They said it would be over by Christmas. Well, it clearly ain't over, is it? What's with you? Did you find mud in your coffee this morning? No, I've been hearing that noise for the past hour and it's torture. I'd rather take a bullet to my knee than having to listen to that again. What are you talking about? Stille Nacht, heilige Nacht, alles schläft, einsam Nacht. They are carols. They're singing carols. Exactly. I hate them. The golden age of Europe, a time of optimism, enlightenment, regional peace, economic prosperity and colonial expansion. The perfect era to be alive. However, there is this part of Europe, and they don't feel so enlightened, but boy oh boy they like to fight. All Europe is experiencing a great wave of nationalism, which can be described as love for your country but even more hate for other people's country. So this part of the continent is not unique. What's unique about them is that they are the Balkans, a melting pot of civilizations, cultures and religions. A powder keg. So while this part of Europe was playing checkers, this part was playing Smash Your Ruler. And for that reason, Franz Ferdinand, the heir to the throne of Austria-Hungary, decided it was a good idea to go on a visit to make them happy. And that worked exactly as planned. For the other guys. There were some deeply dissatisfied people with their treatment inside the empire. So when they heard they got a VIP visitor, it was game on! A handful of guys from the Black Hand wanted to spark a liberation revolution in Serbia. So they planned the assassination of the Archduke. And after a failed attempt, the Archduke wanted to play catch with them. Catch me if you can. Catch you. Oh, come on. And that sparked the revolution, except not the one they were aiming for. The Great War. The first months were terrible, with everyone attacking everyone as part of the treaty's domino effect. During the German advance in France, as they were trying to race each other to the sea, they started digging up trenches in order to maintain their position. And that became the trench warfare. Here is what you need to know about trench warfare. It involves trenches. The space between them varied, but typically was around 90 and 275 meters wide, and it was called no man's land, as there was no man in there, not alive anyways. The trenches were good enough to shelter soldiers from gunfire and artillery shells, but not as good when it comes to weather. So when it rained, the trenches filled up with mud, water and whatnot, and living in such conditions was unbearable. Where to dig these trenches? In an area particularly famous for wet, rainy, cloudy, windy, miserable weather. The prolonged period standing in such wet and unsanitary circumstances makes you gain a very terrifying condition called trench foot, which literally means your flesh is rotting off your feet while you are still alive. Not for long though. Other conditions included trench mouth, a gum infection associated with stress from non-stop bombardment, shell shock, also associated with stress from non-stop bombardment, dysentery, cholera and typhoid fever. And in such circumstances came the Christmas of 1940. What's that sound? I think they're carols. They've been at it some time now. Should we join them? Should we join them? What are you, 14? I actually am 14. The Christmas Truce was a unique moment in history. It was spontaneous and that's what makes it an amazing event like never before. At the beginning of December there were some hopes for a ceasefire, but those hopes shattered faster than you would say Santa. Hey guys, you know with Christmas around the corner, maybe it's a good time to make the guns fall silent and let the angels make some noise. Nope. Grinch. However, Wilhelm II wanted to boost the morale of his troops, so he sent to the front lines the classic Tannenbaum, and that actually worked. As soldiers started placing the trees outside the trenches and singing carols. What a jolly little Christmas. By Christmas Eve, some lower-ranking British officers ordered their men to not fire unless fired upon. This came to be known as Live and Let Live and was randomly adopted throughout the war onwards. Come over here. You come halfway, I come halfway. And thus began the Christmas Truce. This happened only on the parts of the front where British and Germans were fighting, especially in the sectors where Saxon troops were stationed, as some of them worked in London prior to the Great War and spoke English. The truce lasted as little as 2 hours in some areas, while on others until after New Year's Day. This baffled the superior officers, so from that point onwards they made anything possible to stop their troops fraternizing with the enemy, in fear that this would erode their troops' willingness to fight and undermine the war effort. Countless letters sent by soldiers to their loved ones at home tell the story of this unique event. And they are evidence that no matter how dark the times may seem, we can always spark the light of hope if we all come together and treat each other with respect.